All right, what I'm doing today is just talking to you about our M3 gasket cutter, okay? An economical model to cut gaskets out of compressed material, okay, anything hard or rigid, Teflon, up to 1/4 inch thick, all right? Basically, this model is sold as a vise mount, so it's portable. You can put it in a vise, travel to your job site, mount it on your vise, cut right there in the field. We've modified it for our in-shop use. So you can tell we've modified it and permanently fixed it to a table. It comes with one particular cutting bar, all right? And basically this bar goes to 22 inches outside. What I'm going to do is you start out with a compressed piece, okay? You basically unscrew your mandrel. You punch a 3/8 hole, which punches we also have. You open it up, put this on, lock it down, and at this point you would set your distance bar. Okay, obviously it would be 50% of what you're cutting because you're on center line. And you basically just clamp this down. It's almost like a vise at that point, and you crank this. This is as simple as it is. And what I'm doing right now is just marking it so that if I have to change it, I can change it. I take my ruler, back this off, I'll measure my distance, and notice that my measurements are correct. So now I would cut the actual gasket. Part's basically cut. So at this point you have your OD and your ID. Back to the M3 cutter, another nice feature is being that you're cutting the OD and then you can cut the ID, you can also lay out your bolt circle. Alright, so I marked my BC where my size is. I'm going to scribe the line, that's all I'm going to do, which doesn't damage the gasket at all. And you can see it. I'm not sure if you can zoom in and get that, but basically you can see the line. So now you have your bolt circle, which you would do before you cut your ID. It's all in unison now. Now for this purpose, I'm just going to show you the punch set that we have. So you would assume that you cut your ID, all right? But at this point you didn't. You're gonna mark your bolts. I'm just going to say for practical purposes, one is right there, and we're going to take our handy punch kit, and I'm going to cut a 3/8 hole. So you basically screw your punch into your mandrel. It's always best to punch on a polypropylene bed. You can tell we punched quite a few here. It doesn't eat up your punches. You get longer life out of them. Yeah, line it up. Okay, primitive, but it works. You just strike your mandrel, and voila, you got a punch hole. Back to the machine. The M3 gasket cutter, like I said, is economical and durable. This machine has been in use in our factory, probably used every day, probably for 20 years. All right, every part on this is replaceable. You guys can see the wear, okay? And this is a machine that's definitely been used. So again, back to the machine is all parts are replaceable. Blades, everything, spindles, collets, everything is replaceable. Additional options on the machine, like I said, this cuts to 22 or 24 inches. Then you can go 24 to 42 and 24 to 62. All right, and it's very simple to change these bars. The machine is very easy to use. Just unscrew it, slide it out, slide your next bar in. Set it where you want, depending on the size of the gasket. And again, all of this punch it with a 3/8 hole, place it on, lock it in place, and you're off and cutting. Now, obviously I don't have a big enough piece of material right now, but illustration wise, this piece can cut large gaskets up to 62 inches.